on the water or pulling a prank. Jeb and Dan got tricks in the tank, taking a bet, stealing a groundhog. If there's trouble, they ain't gonna back off. Jeb and Dan fishing again, tangled lines and a pocket full of sand, catching big ones, steaming away. Ain't no telling what they'll do today.
Hey fishing fans, today we have another entry for Al's Angling Almanac. This time it's a special one, another adventure of Jeb and Dan. This one is episode 2. It's called Early Start on Fishing Season. Jeb and Dan left for a fishing trip last night. Those two old geezers had planned on going to Barkley Lake to a honey hole that a friend of theirs told them about. Paul fishes there every day and has accumulated over 4,600 green sturgeons in search of Godzilla, a legendary sturgeon close to 87.5 inches that has eluded Paul for years. Dan talked Paul into divulging the secret location by promising an introduction to his sister, first cousin, Darla. Paul says he gets them on expert at all 3 levels using Minnow and Crawfish. On the way, a long discussion began on how nice it would be if spring came early. They could begin fishing earlier this season. After a long, hard talk, a plan had developed. Ensure Phil doesn't see his shadow. On a slight, many-hour detour, they arrived at Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, about 4 a.m. Jeb remembered his grandson, whom he picked up from a school field trip last week, had gone to the Fish and Wildlife station. His grandson left a bag in the truck. Finding Fish and Wildlife patches, Jeb sewed them onto 2 pairs of painting coveralls. Disguised as rangers, these two were able to get past the inner circle on a ploy of checking for parasites. Jeb and Dan stole Punxsutawney Phil. Those two had media lights set up to shine all around as to not cast a shadow next to a news crew. Dan told the news crew that they were selected for an exclusive coverage event as Punxsutawney Phil emerges from his carrier. As the crew were recording Phil not to see their shadow, Jeb and Dan took off, going to lay low for a day or so. Early spring is here, at least as the rig circumstances say. Well, that's pretty funny. Let's go down and see if we can catch a couple of green sturgeon, or at least one. So yeah, let's go check out the map. The map that we're headed to is US West. It's 11, which is Barkley Lake. Yes, Barkley Lake for the green sturgeon. Let's check out what we need to do here. It says Paul says he gets them on expert at all 3 levels using Minnow and Crawfish. Wonder which is better, Minnow or Crawfish. Let's take a look here. Green sturgeon has Crawfish and Minnow, all 3 levels, obviously. Let's see how much competition we have for each one of those. Minnow 1. Another Minnow, yeah. Minnow. Minnow. Crawfish on the tench. So these are mostly smaller guys that like the crawfish, because I know the tench is kind of, I think it's a medium-sized fish, but it doesn't pull drag, so none of the big guys that are really going to fight us. And in fact, that's really the only other guy that seems to like the crawfish, so let's use a crawfish. All 3 levels use a crawfish. Go fishing. Put a crawfish on. And we have a swirl over here. Let's check it out. Oh, I'm kind of mid-level. Not good. I should be at top level. We want instant red. Before the bobber pops up. That's not instant red. Either before the bobber pops up, or what I usually do, especially when it's on lower level, is I watch the bait drop If it gets all the way down and the line isn't red yet on expert mode, then I know it's not the fish. As long as the fish likes that bait, right? All the way down, not red. And you can even drag it like this. Drop it again. Should be red by the time it gets to the bottom. Not? Okay. Check these bubbles. So yeah, I didn't even have to recast. I just... Then we reset. Oh, I'm on dough ball. I switched to dough ball on accident. We have a bunch of swirls. Probably looking for a large swirl. I believe the sturgeon is a large fish, but check them regardless. Nope. That's a reminder to always double check your bait. You can easily switch. And you pull back on the thumbstick for a quick retrieve. I did see some bubbles right here somewhere. Right over here in the middle. That wasn't far enough. That was far enough. And there was some over here. Back there. Come on. By the time that I cast the fourth time in the same spot, the fish will actually be there. But to do our test, we actually need the fish to be there. Okay. Nope. Still got the crawfish. We're good. Get back up to the top. We'll check that swirl. I know that swirl's probably too small, but it doesn't hurt to check. And they had a couple pairs of bubbles and one swirl pop up this refresh anyway. Still got a crawfish. Alright, got bubbles. Whoops, wow, that was a weird cast. Better. Oop. A little far. I know that there was some over here, so I'm going to do a little bit of clock method. I don't know exactly where they were. Just put it down. Reel in about a third of the way or so. Let it drop again. And come over a little bit. Same thing over here. I'm going to try and drop it right next to those bubbles. Nope. One more time. I think I might want to go all the way, actually. Let's see. When you have a hard to find fish or whatever, clock method works pretty well. It is time consuming. And if you don't know what a third of the way is, sometimes I have a hard time judging distance. So I usually count between 5 and 7 seconds, or 5 and 7, well, not 5 twirls, but about 5 and 7 seconds. And I'm gonna watch it go down. Come on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not an exact science, you know. No need to get all up in arms. It's just kind of, it's almost like trolling for fish, you know, like just moving the bait, trying to find where the fish are. Got a deer that ran over there. I don't know if you've seen that deer before. I think there's another one that runs over here somewhere. We got a hit, but I wasn't paying attention. I was paying too much attention to the deer. I don't think that was red by the time it hit the bottom, but we'll see. I hope it is a sturgeon. Make this video nice and compact. That's what I get for not paying attention now. All of a sudden I felt it. It is a sturgeon. All right. We got the green sturgeon. There you go. Crawfish. If you've never done the clock method, that's the clock method. Basically just kind of go around like the arms in a clock. You know, you just work your way around with the bait. You can start from wherever, end from wherever, you know. There's not really any rules to it per se. You're just trying to cover, and you know, if you're using C bait or B bait, you can still use it. You just need to stop a little more often, and you know, because the difference in the bait is that the A bait has a wide circle of attraction, B bait has a medium-sized circle of attraction, and C bait has the smallest circle of attraction. That's really the biggest difference. All right, green sturgeon, 68.376. Thanks, Al, and thanks, Paul, who's caught 4,600. I'm not sure that was a fib. So thanks, everybody. And we have the green sturgeon fish caught. Great video. Tight lines, everyone.
Or sturgeon hunt, but there's a shortcut. They're pulling a stunt. Poker debts and a bag full of tricks. Making deals with catfish mix. Shotgun stinking, neighbors freaking. Dan's got a plan. Jeb's just peeking.